नमस्ते दोस्तों, आपका स्वागत है मेरे चैनल पर। इसे सब्सक्राइब करें और घंटी आइकन दबाएं।
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something, well, a little ambitious. We're going to tell the entire story of our planet, all 4.5 billion years of it. We're going from a cloud of cosmic dust all the way to the world we know today, and we're going to do it in just about 5 minutes. So buckle up. But before we go back to the beginning, let's start right here, right now, with you. Because the very spot you're on, that solid, stable ground beneath your feet, it was once a raging ocean of molten rock, literally hotter than the surface of the sun. It's an almost unimaginable journey of violence and creation. Okay, let's rewind. All the way back. Our story begins 4.5 billion years ago. Before there was an Earth, before there was a sun, or even a solar system, there was really just a massive, cold cloud of gas and dust hanging out in space. So what kicked it all off? A cosmic bang. The shock wave from a nearby star exploding, a supernova, squeezed that cloud of dust, and that allowed gravity to take over. And get this, the very iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, it was all forged in the heart of a dying star just like that one. At the center of this collapsing cloud, it got so hot and dense it just ignited, and boom, our sun was born. All around it, the leftover bits of rock and dust started clumping together, smashing into each other for millions of years, eventually forming a molten, chaotic, fiery planet. A baby Earth. Now, this early version of Earth was not a peaceful place. And as we're about to see, a truly epic catastrophe was about to shape the world we know and love today. Because our young planet, well, it wasn't alone.
There is a cosmic twin, another planet sharing our path around the sun. But, this neighborhood just wasn't big enough for the both of them.
And we're not talking about some little asteroid here. Imagine a whole other world, about the size of Mars, on a collision course with ours. We call it Theia.
And then it happened. The impact was just beyond comprehension. Theia slammed into Earth, vaporizing the crust of both planets and blasting trillions of tons of molten rock out into space. Our world was almost completely destroyed.
But here's the amazing part. Out of that total destruction came a spectacular creation. That ring of superheated debris orbiting the shattered Earth started to get pulled together by gravity. Over thousands of years, it clumped and spun and coalesced into a sphere. It formed our moon.
Now, this violent era also delivered an incredible gift. For millions of years, Earth was pelted by a relentless storm of meteorites. So think about this. The water you drank today, it most likely arrived here on one of those very rocks from deep space. And all of that cosmic rain cooled the lava surface, and slowly, drop by drop, created the very first oceans on Earth. So, the arrival of water really set the stage for one of the greatest mysteries of all, how life began. But Earth was still a pretty hostile place, and believe me, its biggest challenges were still ahead.
Just take a look at this timeline. It's kind of humbling, isn't it? For billions, with a B, of years, life was nothing more than single-celled organisms floating around in the ocean. The dinosaurs were here for what feels like an eternity. And us? Humans? We are just a tiny, tiny sliver at the very, very end of this immense story. We're the new arrivals.
At least once, our planet nearly died completely. A drop in temperature led to more ice at the poles, but because ice is white, it reflected sunlight back into space, which made the planet even colder, which of course created more ice. It was a runaway freezer effect that encased the entire globe, turning it into a snowball Earth for millions of years. It was only a massive surge of volcanic activity pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere that finally broke the spell and thawed us out.
Ironically, it was a waste product that completely transformed the planet. These tiny little microbes started pumping out oxygen. At first, it was toxic to almost everything else, but it created something crucial up in the atmosphere, the ozone layer. This became a shield protecting the surface from the sun's deadly radiation. And for the first time, land was safe. Life could finally leave the oceans. So once life got a foothold on land, it just exploded, leading to an age of giants. For millions of years, the planet was ruled by some of the most successful creatures in its history, the dinosaurs. And this was the speed of an asteroid bigger than Mount Everest as it screamed in from space. For 165 million years, dinosaurs had ruled the world. Their entire reign was about to end in a single day. The impact was, well, it's almost impossible to imagine. It released the same energy as 100 million atomic bombs all going off at the exact same time.
The blast vaporized everything for hundreds of miles. It set off global earthquakes and continent-sized firestorms. A cloud of dust and ash blocked out the sun, plunging the world into a dark winter that killed the plants, then the animals that ate the plants, and then the predators that ate them.
But this catastrophe, like the ones before it, created a new beginning. In the shadow of these fallen giants, something small had managed to survive. By burrowing deep underground, our tiny mammal ancestors actually rode out the apocalypse. The death of the dinosaurs was the opportunity they'd been waiting for.
The world that these mammals inherited was suddenly empty. The stage was cleared for a brand new kind of animal to rise up and eventually dominate the entire planet. And weirdly enough, it all came down to a change in the weather. As Africa's huge forests started to shrink, our primate ancestors were forced out of the trees and onto the open savanna. And to survive, to see predators coming over the tall grass, they did something truly revolutionary. They stood up on 2 feet. That single, simple act changed absolutely everything. It freed their hands to carry food, to care for their young, and eventually to pick up a rock and shape it into the very first tool. This was the spark that ignited an incredible journey of adaptation, leading to language, to culture, and to a species that would spread across the entire globe.
So when you look back at the whole story, from an exploding star to a ball of lava, from the first microbe in the ocean to the age of dinosaurs, and from a world-shattering impact to a single primate standing up for the very first time, you realize this long, violent, and absolutely incredible history has led directly to us. The forces that shape this planet are immense, but for the first time in 4.5 billion years, its future is now in the hands of a single species. And that leaves us with a pretty profound question to think about.
Like, comment and subscribe my channel, please.